Welcome back to the channel. Today we're shaking the foundations of government transparency. Watch as I put legal experts on the hot seat about government secrecy and the Freedom of Information Act. My solution? Hold people personally liable. Stay tuned. This isn't just another hearing. I open the session with a sharp question. Do people respond to incentives? The answer is yes. Yet with Freedom of Information requests, officials ignore and delay without consequences. Why? Because there's no real punishment when officials break the law. Without accountability, nothing changes.
Thank you all for being here. I listened to all of you with great interest. Professor, do you believe that people respond to incentives?
Thank you, Senator. I do believe that people respond to incentives.
Do you believe that what you allow is what will continue?
I suppose I do.
Okay. I listened to all of you talk about enhancing affirmative disclosure requirements, strengthening the presumption of disclosure. I listened to you talk about consultants. I listened to you talking about the need for a public interest.
I propose personal liability for government employees who refuse to turn over public records in bad faith. The room tightens. You can feel it. Do you recommend it? Why not? Isn't it an executive branch culture problem? Why don't we hold people responsible? With due process, but with consequences. If you believe in real accountability, hit that subscribe button now.
Why don't you just create personal liability for the person responsible for turning over the documents?
Certainly, Senator. There are systems, other jurisdictions around the world that do have, in fact, personal penalties for government officials.
Do you recommend it for us?
I don't think that we're at the point where we necessarily have to take such a step in order to drastically change the incentives that agencies.
Why not? I mean, all administrations stall and restall in turning over documents to the American people, don't they? Does anybody disagree with that? It's not a Democrat thing or a Republican thing. It's an executive branch thing, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I do not disagree with that. It is.
So why don't we hold the people responsible, personally responsible? I'm not saying not afford them due process. You may want to require bad faith with a reasonable, not an impossible definition of bad faith.
Even the experts start nodding. Mr. Howell agrees. The current system, where the government pays occasional attorney's fees, doesn't affect the real decision makers. The employees don't care if the government gets sued. They're not paying. Exactly. It's our money, it's our time, and it's our right to know.
Well, the employees don't care if the government gets hit with attorney's fees, do they?
Correct. And that's why the Department of Justice is willing to tolerate us suing them 100 times, because we all pay for their lawyers.
Look, we can write and rewrite statutes all we want to. But it is clear that people in the government are not responding to Freedom of Information Act requests in bad faith. Sometimes they need more time, but I'm talking about in bad faith. That's clear. And it happens on both sides. So instead of just rewriting new laws and new rules that they're going to ignore, why don't you just hold people personally responsible?
Dr. Epstein even admits there's already a part of the FOIA statute that could hold someone accountable. But it's never used. Not once. Has it ever happened? Almost never. Yeah, hasn't happened in the history of ever, has it? Boom, that's the problem.
What about it, Doctor?
I actually fully agree, and I would point out that there's a mechanism in the FOIA statute currently where if it turns out that there's evidence of an agency or an agency employee intentionally withholding documents without a reasonable basis, a judge could, in issuing that order, make that finding.
And when's the last time that happened?
Almost never.
Yeah, it hasn't happened in the history of ever, has it?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah,
and until Congress makes it very clear that we're serious about this, we're going to be equal opportunity pit bulls here and say regardless of who is running the executive branch. You have an affirmative obligation to turn over documents.
Until Congress makes it clear we're serious, this abuse will continue. I'm not saying skip due process, but if you prove obstruction, someone should be held accountable. A few well-placed consequences and the culture would change overnight. And trust me, you'll want to hear what's next. Government secrecy is a bipartisan problem, and the current rules are toothless. Senator Kennedy's proposal is bold, but it's what accountability looks like. If you believe the people have a right to know, share this video. Until there are consequences, nothing changes. Smash that like button, stay informed, stay loud.